Most people spend their lives following a financial script. You know the one. Go to school, get a secure job, save your money, buy a house, stay out of debt, and max out your 401k. But that script, it isn't just outdated. It's a trap. It was designed for an economic reality that completely vanished 50 years ago. The financial advice that you've been told is safe is actually the single greatest risk to your wealth. Today, we're going to break down why the playbook given to the middle class is fundamentally broken, and explore the one used by people who understand the new rules of money.
So here's the fundamental problem. The conventional path to financial security is now a system that's pretty much engineered for the slow-motion destruction of your wealth. It feels like a treadmill, right? You work harder, you earn more, but you somehow keep falling further behind. And while the vast majority of people are following these old rules, there's a small group, let's call them smart money, that is playing a totally different game. And listen, they don't just have more money than you. They operate with a completely different set of rules, a different understanding of how wealth is really built, and more importantly, how it's kept. They see the economic machine for what it actually is, not for what we're all told it is.
So today, we're going to dissect their playbook. We're going to start with the new rules of money, and why the simple act of saving is now a losing strategy. Then, we'll pinpoint the one core financial mistake that keeps most people in a state of constant financial struggle. After that, we'll reveal the quadrant's secret to generating income. And finally, we'll lay out the smart money playbook for building real, sustainable, generational wealth.
All right, let's dive in. The basic rules of money were completely rewritten decades ago, but the advice given to the public never really caught up. And that disconnect, that's the #1 reason so many people feel like they're fighting against a current they can't even see. To understand the new rules, you first have to understand how the game itself was changed.
The date you need to remember is August 15, 1971. Before that day, the US dollar was backed by gold. Money was a direct claim on a real, finite, physical asset. This put a physical discipline on governments. They couldn't just print money out of thin air. But on that day, President Nixon severed that link. The dollar became what's known as a fiat currency. And don't let the term fool you. It's simple. It just means our money is backed by nothing but a government promise. That single act gave central banks the unlimited power to print money, and it fundamentally changed the very nature of money itself.
And this leads us to a hard, unavoidable truth about our financial system. The ability to print endless money created a system of permanent, engineered inflation. You see, inflation isn't just prices going up. It is the persistent, intentional devaluation of the currency. So every single dollar you save is being debased by design. It's an invisible tax, a silent thief that eats away at your purchasing power. And it punishes anyone who hoards cash while systematically rewarding those who own real, productive assets. The old virtue of saving diligently, it's now become a financial handicap.
And this number right here shows the consequence. Since the creation of the Federal Reserve back in 1913, the dollar has lost over 96% of its value. Think about that. What you could buy for $1 a century ago now costs $25 or more. So holding on to cash for the long term isn't a strategy for preserving your wealth. It's a strategy for a guaranteed loss. It's like holding a melting ice cube. The outcome is certain.
Okay, so this brings us to what is probably the most dangerous misunderstanding in all of personal finance. It's just a simple error in definition, but it's an error that has absolutely devastating consequences. It is the root cause of why so many people work their entire lives to accumulate things that make them poorer, all while believing they're actually building wealth. So, I want you to ask yourself a question right now. How would you define an asset? Really think about your answer. You're probably thinking about things that have value, things you own, like your house, maybe your car. Well, the definition you're holding in your head is most likely wrong. It's the definition taught to consumers, not the one that's used by actual investors.
This is the definition that smart money uses. It's brutally simple. Forget what an accountant might call it. Forget its on-paper value. The only thing that matters, the only thing, is the direction of the cash flow. An asset puts money in your pocket, month after month. A liability takes money out of your pocket, month after month. That's it. That is the only definition that matters for building wealth, period. Every financial decision has to be seen through this simple binary lens. Does it feed you, or do you feed it?
And when you start using this definition, you arrive at an unavoidable conclusion. It's one that completely contradicts decades of financial dogma. Your home, the cornerstone of the middle-class dream, is not an asset. For most of your life, it is your single greatest liability. It doesn't generate a dime of income. It's a relentless consumer of your income. It takes money out of your pocket every single month without fail. Just look at the real data.
The purchase price of your home is actually a minority of what you'll end up paying over the life of the loan. Take a look at this example for a $500,000 home. 40%, the single biggest slice of the pie, goes straight to the bank in mortgage interest. Then you've got another 15% for property taxes, and then another 11% for maintenance and repairs. These are massive, relentless cash outflows, all paid for with your after-tax dollars. Your house isn't an investment you own. It's a product you consume.
Now, understanding the difference between assets and liabilities is absolutely critical, but it's only half the equation. We also have to analyze the source of your income, because it's not about how much money you make, it's about how you make it. This is the quadrant secret, and it explains why just working harder at your job is one of the most inefficient paths to real wealth. So this quadrant maps out the 4 ways people can generate income. On the left side, you have employees and the self-employed. Their income is active. They literally trade their time for money. If they stop working, the income stops. About 95% of the population lives here, trading their limited hours for a paycheck. Now the right side, business owners and investors. They own systems and they own assets. Their income is passive, and this is where true wealth and freedom are created, because their income is completely decoupled from their time. They build or buy income streams that work for them, even when they're not.
The system is also structured to give a massive advantage to the right side of the quadrant, and taxes are the clearest example. An employee earns $1, and the government immediately takes its cut before they even see it. They have to live on what's left over. A business owner, on the other hand, earns $1, spends that dollar on legitimate business expenses to grow their system, and is only taxed on whatever profit is left. The tax code is not designed to be fair. It's a system of incentives. It's engineered to reward specific behaviors, like creating jobs and providing housing. It's designed to reward the people on the right side of the quadrant.
All right, so we've broken down the flaws in the old rules, we have the correct definition of an asset, and we understand the structure of income. This brings us to the final piece, the actionable strategies. This is the Smart Money Playbook, and it's all about leveraging the system's own rules to your advantage.
The middle class is taught one thing about debt: avoid it at all costs. But that's incomplete advice. You see, there are 2 types of debt. There's bad debt, which is what most people have. It's used to buy liabilities, cars, TVs, vacations, things that go down in value. It makes you poorer. But then there's good debt. Good debt is a powerful strategic tool. It's debt that's used to buy an asset that generates more income than the cost of the debt. The asset itself pays for the loan. Good debt makes you richer, and you do it using the bank's money.
Let's look at the simple math of leverage. Say you buy a $100,000 asset with all cash, and it brings in $10,000 in net income. That's a 10% return on your capital. Not bad. But now look at the leveraged purchase. You only put down $20,000 of your own money and borrow the other $80,000. Now, even after you pay the interest on the loan, your net income might be, say, $6,000. But here's the key. That's a $6,000 return on your actual cash invested of just $20,000. That is a 30% return. It's the same exact asset, but you get a 300% higher return on your capital. That is the power of using other people's money.
And this all culminates in the ultimate smart money strategy. It's a 3-step framework that's known as buy, borrow, die. Step 1. You buy income-producing assets, and you almost never sell them, because selling creates a taxable event. Step 2. You borrow. As your assets grow in value, you take out tax-free loans against that equity to fund your lifestyle. Remember, loan proceeds are not considered income. And step 3, you die. Your heirs then inherit those assets at what's called a stepped-up basis, which means their cost basis becomes the market value at the time of your death. A lifetime of capital gains is legally wiped clean from the tax code. It is the ultimate wealth preservation machine.
So, these are the new rules. Cash is a decaying asset. Your primary home is a liability. You have to focus on shifting your income source from the left side of the quadrant to the right. You have to learn to use good debt to acquire assets that produce cash flow. You need to invest for that cash flow, not just hope for appreciation. And you have to finally understand that the tax code is a rulebook that is designed to reward producers, not consumers.
The middle class isn't wrong because they don't work hard. They're wrong because they're playing an old game with an obsolete set of rules. They are playing checkers on a chessboard. But now, you see the board for what it really is. You know the rules have changed. The only question left is what's your next move?